Hello and welcome to another out of spec reviews video. For the last 2 months, I have been living with this Tesla Model Y Standard. And in this video, I'm going to summarize all of our thoughts on the car. Everyone on the team pretty much has had their chance to ride in this car. It actually shuttled Timon to the hospital after he broke his neck in a motorcycle accident here. Updates are coming and he's recovering very well. So it's been sort of a savior for one of our colleagues and friends, but also a really interesting experience because this is the entry level point in the Model Y lineup. Now, I had a chance to review this car along with the initial unveil in Texas earlier last year. And I was a little bit of a downer on it. And I thought, okay, they kind of stripped away a lot of the cool stuff out of the Model Y Premium, and they left the Model Y Standard with kind of the bare minimum of acceptability when it comes to features and specifications. However, after living with it for the last 2 months, I actually still agree with my initial review. So I'm going to walk you through front to back what we thought about this Model Y, some of the absolutely impressive results we got through our testing, and then we'll make this a pretty quick out of spec reviews video. This video is brought to you by Ionna and OpenVPP. Ionna, the EV charging network brought to you by the world's leading automakers. Ionna is raising the bar on what it means to charge. We're talking a 400 kilowatt charge rate minimum, nationwide network built with the customer in mind. Fast, reliable, affordable, every single time. And OpenVPP, a global virtual power plant for electric vehicles. See vehicles charging across the world and zoom in to see real-time charging status in what aims to be the world's largest vehicle virtual power plant. OpenVPP allows you to track charging history, energy usage, and daily trips, comparing your usage versus others day to day and month to month. With OpenVPP, we're working together to showcase the potential of EV charging to electric grid operators. There may even be future coordinated EV charging rewards coming soon. So sign up today at world.openvpp.energy. It's completely free to join and takes under 60 seconds. It is freezing here in North Carolina this week. Absolutely insane. We're bracing for a big snowstorm that's about to hit us. And while this car is going to go back to Tesla before all the snowstorms come, I have to really commend Tesla on their heat pump tech. This is nothing specific to Model Y Standard. This car, even though it's been down into, low double digits, single digit Fahrenheit, Model Y with heat pump, insane heating power, instantly fast, better than almost any other electric car we've ever tested with a heat pump, and better than even most of them with PTC heaters. So shout out to Tesla engineering on just making this thing get hot instantly. That's really kind of the benefit of going with the Model Y Standard. You see, this car is just under $40,000 MSRP. It's like $41,000 by the time you factor in destination and delivery and all that stuff. For $41,000, they do take a lot out of the car compared to the Model Y Premium. That's about a $5,000-ish jump. But you still get so many great Tesla technologies at that standard price point. I'm actually going to shoot a video comparing this to the new Nissan Leaf. We have both here at the same time, and they're both the identical price. On the new Nissan Leaf, it's $42,000. Yeah, it's got a sunroof and some other nice visual touches that this car is lacking, but you have to pay for a battery heater. This car comes with all of the Tesla integration you know and expect. Plug and charge with supercharging, on-route battery preconditioning, that amazing thermal system, and the list goes on and on. The amazing traction control and stability control and braking systems that come on this car. And that is kind of the benefit of the Model Y Standard. There's going to be pros and cons to this car, and I do think it is not the Model Y to buy right up front. I do think stretching an extra $5,000 for the Premium makes sense, and I will explain why throughout the video. First off, the looks. This is clearly the standard model driving down the road. You can tell because visually it's got the base wheels on it. You can upgrade to 19-inch wheels, but this has the 18-inch wheels with Hankook Ion Evo AS. Now, design-wise, they serve a purpose. It's meant to be the most efficient option on Model Ys, but it's not visually attractive. It's kind of weird, bubbly look, almost like Marshmallow Man in this spec right here. Model Y is actually only available in 3 colors, so very little distinction across the Model Y Standard. But on the other hand, you get insane efficiency. This is the most efficient SUV we've ever tested, but actually it's one of the most efficient cars we've ever tested. This is more efficient in our testing than the Tesla Model 3 standard, which we also have at the same time. And I'll do another video comparing those two. This car uses the new updated 4DU drive unit that is like magic. I don't know how they can turn basically nothing into forward momentum. That's the efficiency that we get out of this car. It's wild. Well over 4 miles per kilowatt hour at 70 miles an hour in the cold. It's unbelievable. And a lot of it has to do with the Hankook Ion Evo AS tire. It's an amazing tire for efficiency, and we're going to be doing some more with Hankook, which is great. I'm super excited about that. But this car serves a purpose. If you want the cheapest total cost of ownership on a new electric vehicle like this and Model 3, you can't beat them. They're dead reliable. There's tons of aftermarket service for them, you know, if you plan to keep it forever. And the day-to-day running costs are insane. They also have a new low power mode that if you park it at an airport, or if you really just want it to be as efficient as possible over the lifetime, you can now lock it so that there's almost zero phantom drain when you park the car. It'll just sit and not use any power when it's parked. A really welcome adjustment that some other automakers had been doing a better job of Tesla up to this point. Design-wise, like I mentioned, you've got the all-in-one headlight unit. The Model Y Premium Performance use a split system. You have a rounded front bumper, and in general, this is to serve a purpose. It's to reduce cost as much as possible. And so again, $40,000, you guys can stay there. I'm going to pop the front trunk. $40,000 isn't cheap. Would you mind just standing closer? I should have called you over here. This is always a problem with Tesla is phone key. Thank you, Scott. You know, it's not cheap, but it is cheaper than the other models. When this car first came out, you could not lease them. That was a problem. Now they're the lease entry model, and I think we're going to see a lot more of them coming because of that. This is a miss, a major miss on this car. Again, $40,000 car, that's not cheap. You have a non-waterproof front trunk that's made out of literally the cheapest possible material you can think of. You can see all of the inside, the wells and everything. They really should have just kept this like they did with Model 3. Again, I'll have a video comparing this to Model 3 standard, but just for reference, the Model 3 standard, which is the Tesla entry-level price point, has almost no changes from the standard or premium car, including the front trunk. That's all the same. The Model Y got the glass roof delete, got the front trunk delete, etc., etc. But this to me just feels too far. And there's a few things on this Model Y that they've gone too far on. The next being the seat controls, and let's just talk about that. So in terms of removing from the premium, the things that have gone too far, if you run back over again, is this right here. Now this has been a real point of issue, both for everyone on the team. My colleague William runs Out of Spec Roaming, a new channel if you're interested in electric cars in Europe and China and beyond. William is taking on the roaming channel for Out of Spec. He had on test a new Tesla Model Y standard, but the European version, and that is so much better than this car. Uses an LFP battery pack, and there's other things about it. It has base autopilot, which this doesn't have. That was really cool. But the thing that drove him nuts and me nuts and Scott nuts and Timon nuts and everyone is there are no seat controls on the seat. What were they thinking? You have to go into the touchscreen, basically stop what you're doing on the screen. You can't input a nav and adjust seat controls, for example. Hit the most confusing button segment in the world, and it's frustrating, especially on a long trip, because you're always trying to dial in your seating position and move around slightly. Or in the case for me, for whatever reason, my Tesla account that controls all of my cars and all of the cars that are linked to it, this seat is not in alignment with the seats that in the other cars. So every time I get in this car, my phone links to my profile and I'm like up in the steering wheel and I've got to hold the screen down. I actually did end up creating a local Tesla account on the car because it was driving me crazy. There's also no way to like quickly stop the seat. You know, if it gets an auto adjustment, you can't like reach down and stop it from sliding you into the steering wheel. So it'll just, honk the horn with my tummy and I'm just getting squished in there. It's so annoying. But also, yeah, need to get back into the exercise routine. So maybe that's the incentive. A couple other real problems that Tesla took away on this car. It looks like it has a glass roof on the outside, and that's because it does. Tesla says it's cheaper to maintain glass. This is a decontented version of the glass roof over the Model Y Premium, but take a look inside. It's just this light, ugly headliner. Thankfully, on the brand new Model Ys, they've gone to a dark headliner. I don't know if that extends to the Model Y standard. It's dark in there. And the real problem is at nighttime, there's no ambient lighting in this car, in the sense that there's no down lighting, there's no reflectivity because there's no glass roof. You cannot see anything in the car. You drop, whatever on the floor, you're not finding it in this thing. And we'll talk about that as well. So that's a real problem. And another real problem is no basic autopilot on this vehicle. Now, Tesla is removing the option to actually purchase full self-driving outright. Not that anyone trying to save money would buy a Model Y standard and then purchase $8,000 worth of FSD. You have to subscribe to it for $99 a month. The target buyer for this car is the entry point into the Model Y range. When we're talking $300 or $400 a month on a lease, adding 20 to 25% of that value just for driver assistance is a bit crazy. And some people just want basic lane centering on the highway. That should be a bare minimum requirement. Toyota Corollas ship with it. Everything has lane centering these days. The fact that this car does not come with any lane centering whatsoever from the factory is a real problem. Now, for $99 a month, it pretty much drives itself, and it's crazy, and FSD is unbelievable. And I've been driving this car so much just because of FSD 14 with hardware 4, and it really does feel like I have my own little autonomous pod to bring me around. It's unbelievable. But it's still $100 a month, and for a lot of people that are gonna be stretching into a Model Y standard, too much money. And I really think they just need some sort of basic autopilot system that they offer on the rest of their cars, except for Cybertruck. Put it on here. It needs it. The European version has it. Why doesn't the US version? To me, crazy. I could almost see them not offering it on their premium or performance models and just making those customers go for FSD. The standard one should have basic lane centering. I can't say that enough. I can't figure out why they don't do this, and there's really no reason that makes any logical sense when they're thinking about the customer base. So that's kind of all the stuff that Tesla took too much away from. You could keep going too. You could say the sound system. Okay, the sound system's not bad, but it's not the Tesla amazing sound system that you would expect. I actually think it's acceptable. And the headlights are terrible. The headlights, first of all, when we got this car, were aimed at the ground. We couldn't see more than 2 feet in front of it. When I'm on the highway, I'm like, I don't know how FSD can see, so far ahead. It somehow could see in the pitch black. I couldn't see with the headlights. So I raised the headlights up to the normal position, and that was fine. But you don't get the matrix functionality or the big beam that you do with the Model Y Premium. So you get sound quality's down, external lighting is down, styling is subjective, you get no glass roof, and it just seems all bad. Until you drive other cars that are not Teslas. For example, that Nissan Leaf just showed up, that brand new 2026 Nissan Leaf. That car, crazy enough, has, at least on paper, maybe more functions. But it has a 5 kilowatt hour larger battery with almost 70 miles less EPA rated range. And then you start thinking, oh yeah, the Tesla stuff. Super efficient, you can still get FSD on there. And the Model Y is just a pleasant vehicle to live with. I've not been a Model Y hater. I've always recommended them to my friends, but I've not really been like a Model Y guy. I much prefer a Model 3, they're sportier, they're whatever. Like I said, we've had this and a Model 3 standard for about 8 to 10 weeks. This has become almost my daily driver in that 10-week period of time. It's just easy to get into. It's easy to throw the dogs in it. It's easy to live with. And I cannot say enough good things about it. And it's extremely practical. The seats go completely flat. There's a deep underfloor storage. Well, genuinely my daily driver. That's my bag that I bring with me wherever I go. And I've just been FSDing my way around. Huge deep wells next to the cargo space back here. And it's an amazing, spacious, easy to live with car. The barrier to entry to do anything, like just get in and go, is so easy in this car because I just sit in the seat, which is a nice textile material, and I push the destination I want to go to, and then I just show up. And you know what? That's kind of cool that it is the stripped down version of that. Now, you don't have the rear screen in this car like the Premium does, but the back seats are more than comfortable. So I can sit back here. I'm 6'1" or 1.86 m, more than comfortable. And there's a little pull tab, not power adjustment, but I can put the seats back, which is really nice. The one real annoyance is this. This is your center console. There is no like flip down armrest. You actually have the center section come down with 2 cup holders in there. And then you have this metal bar that sticks out. I'll pop out so you can see it. There's a metal bar that sticks out that I kind of have caught myself on a couple times right here. Yeah, and it's a little bit awkward. It just doesn't, like that again, feels maybe a little bit too far because the Model Y Premium comes with, you know, a nice proper armrest. So this is the car they've really decontented, but I still think it's a bit too expensive. Now, range, charging, nerd stuff. This car uses the J3400 or North American Charging Standard. No shocker there. It charges pretty poorly in the sense that you get a big peak speed of 225 kilowatts. I have all videos on the Out of Spec testing channel of this. Big peak of 225 kilowatts, and then it kind of just comes down all the way and really falls off a ledge. At 50%, it's doing like less than 100 kilowatts, which is pretty brutal for a brand new, you know, electric car, regardless of its price point. However, the Model Y Standard is so efficient, and so efficient even at highway speeds, that your 10% challenge number, which is sort of our road trip simulation, and the quick top up just to make it to your destination, in the real world actually works okay. And that's always been the Tesla thing. They kind of suck at charging performance on paper, but make up for it with mega efficiency. And that's exactly what this car does. Mega efficient charging. And it's about 69.5 kilowatt hours usable. What's nice is it's the same Panasonic 2170 cell that's in the premium cars, but they took out a string of cells, about 10 kilowatt hours worth, that were only in the parallel configuration. So the series voltage of the pack is still up there as a 400 volt-ish pack at 100%, which is nice, about 380, 370 nominal, somewhere around there. So you still get nice high voltage if you're at a amperage limited DC charger. That also helps a little bit with efficiency. And your charging performance is okay, but it has surprisingly good range for being a standard variant. I would have actually liked to see Tesla take more capacity out of the battery and make it cheaper. That was my initial impression. This genuinely has more range than my Model S Plaid on my big wheels and all the performance stuff. Like, it's 321 miles of EPA rated range, which is identical to the Model 3 Standard. Surprisingly, that's that new 40U drive unit. That's just magic, like I was talking about. The 3 doesn't get it. If that car had it, it would be insane. And like the daily usable range on this car, Tesla recommends an 80% charge limit. Totally fine. I still would have preferred maybe LFP. You could full charge it, give us 55 kilowatt hours instead of 70 kilowatt hours. But Tesla has this new internal mission, they told me, where they're really trying to have all their cars hit 300 miles of real world range. Now, real world range is a mixed about 60 or 65 mile an hour average drive cycle. They tell me our testing for range is done at 70 miles an hour on the highway, because that's just a repeatable number that we could pick. And I can't remember exactly how far this car went on a charge, but it was pretty good. It was around 260-ish miles. The video's live on Out of Spec testing, and it was just mega efficient and had more than enough range, considering it was the standard small battery Tesla Model Y. I think that kind of sums up a lot of the initial thoughts and testing on the car. I'd love to take you for a drive, chat a little bit more about it, and get out of the cold, because it is freezing out here. Well, guys, you joined me out for a drive in the Model Y Standard, just a couple laps of the track, because ultimately the full driving experience of the Model Y just needs to be good and pleasant and kind of stay out of your way. Now, just in terms of, again, the downsides compared to Model Y Premium, let's first talk about noise and vibrations. So the rear trunk uses actually a very similar design to the original Model Y's rear trunk, which means you get a bit more boominess into the cabin. However, a rear parcel shelf would make a ton of difference by just adding this. So I believe the standard Model Y Premium parcel shelf fits in the standard car, and it's kind of annoying to have that piece of, you know, fabric go across the back. So it's mostly so people can't look in to see what luggage you have in a parking lot in the back of the car, but it really does help with the boominess coming from the rear of the car. Now, it's not bad, and it's still better than the original Model Y. This car also uses single pane, non-noise insulated glass all around the vehicle compared to the Model Y Premium. And it certainly is louder. You get more road noise, more, even a little bit of wind noise coming into the car, but it's not unmanageable, it's not annoying, and so I really think that's not as big of a deal as I was expecting it to be. I really thought a lot of the noise issues based off my first drive of the car in Texas were going to be a bigger problem here on the roads at home, that I'm driving in a bunch of different cars every day. But in reality, it's actually been more than acceptable in my impression. Let's not hit the turkey.
That's a vulture.
What's the difference?
Vultures eat dead things. Turkeys eat seeds.
Oh, okay. So, well, we almost hit it. I mean, not really, but would have been funny. So then you get down to, so the noise is actually more than acceptable. You turn the sound system up. You really get a lot of front speaker action going on. There's not much surround or immersive audio experience. It's just a general good listening experience. And if you just listen to podcasts most of the time, or even just some basic audio, like especially if it's classical music or rock music or something that doesn't need a ton of subwoofer, you're going to be more than fine with the standard output of the sound system. Here's an example where I want to adjust my seat, but I've got to go into the screen and push it back, which is kind of annoying. Also, without actual TPMS, all it tells me is that our tires are low on pressure. It got really cold last night, but not exactly the pressures that are in the car. Now, they will heat up as I drive it around a little bit, but they still need adjusting, and we would, of course, adjust that ahead of testing, which we always do when we ran the car through the testing programs. So then let's just talk about acceleration and braking and stability really quick. I will have a full performance review of this car on the One Lap channel, but it's pretty slow off the line. The 0 to 30 mile an hour is brutal for an electric car. And so you floor it and almost nothing happens. You're like, come on, let's go. We're at 25 miles an hour. There's 35. But then at 40, it picks up the power and really pushes. And so the 50 to 90, which is a metric that we test, sort of passing power test, is identical with many other Tesla and battery electric vehicles. It almost matches a Rivian in the 50 to 90 acceleration, where it has a 3 or 4 second slower 0 to 60 time of being over 6 seconds 0 to 60. And so the off the line acceleration isn't good, but the at speed acceleration is more than acceptable. And part of that is because with the 4DU in the rear, that new drive unit, Tesla actually has an efficient version of the 4DU where they took 2 of the 4, my understanding, silicon carbide inverter driver chips off of it to again save on cost, where it doesn't get the punch off the line, but it can pick up speed once it's spinning and still give, around 300 horsepower. So it's more than acceptable there. And then you get to actually driving the car. And while this doesn't have the frequency response damper that the Model Y Premium has, that can adjust the output of the damper, or there's a little check valve in there to adjust for high frequency sort of road inputs and smoothing those out. This is just one fixed setting for the damper. It's actually still rides better than the previous generation Model Y in almost any configuration. And I found it to be a basic ride tuning setup, but one that was more than acceptable to live with on a day-to-day. It's a little bit bouncy at times, and you do get a little bit of rear porpoise. But again, I don't think you're buying this coming in to nitpick the driving experience. If you were, you would want to get a Model Y Performance that has the electrically adjustable dampers on that car. And when you start pushing the Model Y just a little bit quicker, like we are right now, nothing super hardcore, it's actually very nicely balanced and really stable and safe to drive. It soaks up big inputs really well. It turns incredibly sharp, and the brake pedal is amazing. Being a brake-by-wire system, you just have a nice, firm, good pedal feedback, and it just is a great overall handling and feeling car. It picks up speed well when you push it, and almost none of this matters, because if you get a new Tesla, the real magic happens when you spec FSD. Now, we've already talked about the cost implications of full self-driving, which is currently $99 a month. There will be no purchase option, and that means Tesla can theoretically up the price to whatever they deem fit. And that is a bit scary of a proposition, because you're not guaranteed the price of the driver assistance functionality. But let's just gloss over that really quick, which is a point you shouldn't really gloss over when making a purchasing decision. When you get the FSD option on your car, you just put in the destination you want, and then the car drives you there by itself. Yes, it is still a level 2 system. That means the human is responsible for it at the time of this recording. But the fact that it's getting so good that, from my perspective, I chose to drive this Model Y the most out of any of the cars we've had here because of this software and the amazing advancements that it's achieved over the last couple iterations. It is insane how big the competitive differentiation is between Model Y standard, and then you talk about, again, a Nissan Leaf or a new Bolt or high spec other vehicles, Equinox EV, for example. All of those vehicles really struggle to come close to matching the capability of this car in the day-to-day life, which is one you have to drive and one you kind of don't. And that's a crazy differentiation. So the overall impression of the Model Y standard is, when you look at it in the Tesla lineup, it kind of sucks because they take so much out of the Model Y Premium and they drop the price $5,000, which it feels like they didn't drop it enough. And you get a smaller battery, slower charging, way less amenities in the vehicle, annoying stuff such as the seat controls on the screen. And you go, you know what, maybe I'll just stretch into a Model Y Premium. But most people are leasing these cars now, and that program will change month to month, year to year. So I think it really depends on the pricing proposition at the time that you're purchasing a Model Y standard. If the lease is $100 a month different between a standard and a premium, now it actually starts to make sense. And you go, you know what? I can live without the niceties or the amenities. Maybe you had an old car where you just need some basic transportation. Let's get the cheapest one. It's still been a lovely experience to live with this car. And especially when you compare it to other vehicles in the price category, it does things that no other car can do. The efficiency, the driver assistance, the handling, the overall integration into the life of a Tesla owner with the app, with, how everything works there. It's unmatched. And so on one hand, it's kind of the worst value Tesla because you're just a little bit away from the premium version, which is still my recommendation. You get much more acceleration and features in the car and ride quality, noise, the list goes on. But when you compare it to the competition, you go, you know what? It's actually right in line and maybe even better in some or most categories from other equivalently priced vehicles. So I think it really becomes a personal decision, as does any car buying topic, where if you're okay giving up some of the niceties and you're okay compromising a bit on all of the above noted features and options, then the Model Y standard is going to be a really nice, reliable, cost-effective, easy to live with vehicle for you for a very long time. And that's the review of the Model Y standard. Great, but not so great. Scott, you're here too. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a good entry into Tesla vehicle. Nothing impressive, but if you're getting this, you're not looking to be impressed. You're looking to save money.
So thanks so much for watching another Out of Spec Reviews video. Thanks for your quick review there at the end, and thanks for filming it.
You're welcome.
We'll see everyone on another one again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.